Hello and welcome. How did I get one view and one like before I even started this video? That's creepy. Oh, hi Ashley. Okay, I seen a viewer. It says I got zero on there right now. It shows that it dropped, so it must have dropped you. Uh, yeah, that's the problem with technology and our sun. It's starting to have a greater effect on our technology. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate. Today is going to be a let's talk to each other day. You're probably wondering about the picture with the little typewriter above the monkey head. Well, that's because it's exactly what it is. It's a typewriter above the monkey's head. It's a thought. And I had a thought. What if we humble ourselves? We know that news is meant, wow, it just said I had 3 likes. Now it says I have 2 likes. Something weird with this thing. Anyways, I had a thought about being humble. I'm afraid I might have made God a little mad at me last night. And I think he's trying to show me something today, to be honest. So, point blank is, I'm not going to go into a long story. He's just mad at me. The reason why I say be humble is because when you lose something or you think you lost something, it probably isn't the case. You've probably heard of people saying, I know I set my car keys down in the same place every day. When I come in from work, I do this and I do that. They have a routine. That's the point of having a routine, to know what you've done. And you know when something's not right, you know when something's amiss. So when that person goes to look for their car keys and they say, where the hell are my car keys? And then all of a sudden they're on the other table and they scratch their head and they say, I must have moved them without realizing it. Or maybe it's trickery. You ever think that maybe the spirits that we can't see, I can see us, the things that we can't see, just because there's air and we can't see it doesn't mean that it ain't there. We breathe it every day. So there's things around us that we can't see. And one thing I find uniquely funny about it is they like to play games. They won't let you on. Ghosts like to play games. For instance, you could have a lighter sitting on the table. This thing touches that object, and what happens is it becomes invisible. It's kind of like what these magic artists are doing. Hey, baby girl. It's what these magics people do, and people can't explain some things that they do. It's like impossible without the help of something that's not seen. So when you see something vanish and reappear somewhere else, it's most likely because whatever's there isn't seeable, and whatever it touches disappears. They like to move things around on you. They'll hide it from you for a few days, make you think you're going crazy. They like to watch you go crazy. But when you wake up and you realize this, it no longer has an effect on you. These spirits, or whatever these things are, these entities, will do something else. So, I don't understand what that is. AS, go, Clay. I don't know. Problem is, can't get rid of them. And the reason why it's doing it now, oh, okay. there's something my friend said to me. He says, don't look for spirits. And he says, don't look for spirits because the more you look for them, the closer they get. That's a story for another time, I guess. My whole point is being humble instead of going crazy. Amen to that. But instead of going crazy like it wants you to do, you humble yourself. And remember, always remember God. Yes. Oh, don't you guys find it funny? Not that Stephen Hawking died, but on the day that he died, 314, the number of pi. I think it's 31459 or 159 at the end. I've been doing some research. Oh, I've also been, I'm a popular science guy. I like to keep up on information. I'm a Smithsonian guy too. There's a lot of things that we remember. Yes, definitely went to the dark side. But every day that something happens that's strange, that's unexplainable, and people curse God because God's not helping them, it's because they're not asking God to help them. They're not asking. They're bitching about something that's taken place instead of just saying, you know what, let me ask God to fix this. And usually that's what happens. If you lose something, like money, God will give it to you tenfold, 100-fold. It's how you humble yourself. It's trying to teach us to be like a kid again. Yes, we're impatient, but learn it. Learn patience because we don't have long now. I hate saying it, but I think 2018 is going to be the boom boom year for everything. I think this summer, because what they're doing, what our governments and scientists are doing is they're cooling the earth. They're creating these cold weather phenomenons. They're doing it because you could see it on the Mimics map. You could see it on the map, the radar that shows the energy sequence coming out, shooting down, targeting this area of the water or the sky, and they're creating storms with it, hurricanes with it. They're using weather warfare, and they've been doing it for a while. That ain't the only thing they're using. They're using silent but deadly weapons. It's called the Silent Weapons System. SWS. Silent Weapons System. You'd find that if you're not scared to climb a cell phone tower. You go and you look at it. You'll get radiation burns, of course, but you go and you look at the back of one of those, and it says Silent Weapons System. Unfortunately, you can't bring a camera up there or a phone because they don't work. They seem to get screwed up for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's like a Faraday cage. Nothing works inside of it. Everything on the outside works. So people would be very smart if they built themselves some sort of system to protect themselves from these rays that are coming down from our sun. Because this summer, it's all going down. This earth is going to heat up like you've never seen. The lava is going to start spewing out of the fucking volcanoes. I hate to speak like this, but I'm humble. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's depressing, but am I depressed? Hell no. Hell to the no. I'm excited because I'll get to see what nobody else has ever seen except for the days of Noah. This will be the final time. So we know that they're trying to cool the earth. They're trying to keep the volcanoes from coming up. And now we got a bigger problem. Yeah, that big earthquake is coming, baby. That big earthquake is coming. 3 weeks without a 6 point or better on the earthquake scale. Oh, there's a problem there. That means pressure's building up in a big way. Where's it going to go? That's the problem. Where's it going to go? Except for boom. It's exactly what's going to happen. Somebody in this world, and when I say somebody, I'm referring to a country, is in extreme danger. Boom is right. There's a country in extreme danger of a very severe earthquake. It's going to be millions of people dying. They're getting people. They're getting people used to chaos in the news. They're getting people to be okay with it. They're programming people to be okay with bridges collapsing, killing people, shootings going on, protesting it. They want to see if anybody's going to stand up. See, our children are the future, but we're also our children's future. The only way anything gets done is if we, the people, do something about it. You see what happened? Our children, they stood up, they walked out of school, they protested. And the news and all the late night shows are commending them. That's right. That's right. The worker bees did exactly what they wanted them to. But it backfired on the government as well. It backfired on the government. But it's working out for one situation and one situation only. They want guns banned. They're going through the kids. They're using the kids to ban the guns. You do realize this. And at the same time, the president's making it look like he's for your guns. He wants you to have guns. But then, again, he's a contradicting piece of crap. Because then again, he goes, I'm all for taking the guns first and then due process second. So he's making your Second Amendment truly second. Due process will be second. Take the guns first. He likes that idea. What's that telling you? They're working on your guns. They're working on your defense. They're profiling everybody. They know who's a shooter. They know who will kill and who will not. We were told, don't kill. Those who kill with the sword will die by the sword. Well, let me fucking tell you something. I don't plan on killing anybody when this shit gets to fan. Because there's going to be people running all over the place, screaming with their heads like chickens with their head cut off. There are going to be people going after people for revenge because they're going to know that the law is no longer going to protect anybody because they're going to be fending for themselves. You know, and I get police officers to tell me certain things when you put them in a spot, but you got to get them angry. You got to take them off their focus. No, they've got other things. They've got sonic weapons. It just goes so deep. It goes so deep. But these weapons cannot affect you if you don't let them. It's all about belief. The power of your mind is everything. And they're trying to tell you that. They're only trying to wake up those who are already hip to it. And you know what's going to happen after that? They're going to round those people up that seen everything happen before it happens. Because those are the people they're looking for. Right now, they're just watching. They're just sitting back and watching what the people predict and what they say, just to see how accurate people really truly are. They want to see who knows. They're waiting for that Daniel to appear in today's modern world and unseal that scroll. Who is worthy to unseal that scroll, really? I'll tell you this. We may not know who unsealed it, but it is unsealed. The truth is coming out. He said, seal up the scroll until the days of the knowledge increases. It's increased abundantly. We know more now about many things that we ever have, and we know more about nothing than we ever have. Because every time they learn something new, they end up changing it later on down the road and saying this is what they thought they knew, and this is what it is now. It's just like the conspiracies that are being pushed out there. Later on down the road, they start saying, okay, it's true. We found evidence that proves it because it'll be undeniable. That's right. Don't eat the tuna, folks. I'm going to tell you that. Don't eat the tuna. Don't eat the tuna. It may taste good, but it turns your stomach. Oh, God, it turns your fucking stomach. And let me tell you something. He was also referring that to not just the water, the food, but he was also referring that to knowledge. Now, he gives us the right. He gives us the right to decipher what he's saying truly in the Bible. We're not taking away any words. We're not adding any words. We're not putting our own spin on it. We're just showing what he said is right. That's all we're doing. And if it takes putting a picture with the words and some definitions for some words for people to understand the Bible verses that are going on right now, then that's what has to be done. Because I don't know how many people I've talked to about it and asked the question, and I've been approached too myself, but there are a lot of people that believe that we're living in the end times right now. Whether they're a Bible thumper or an atheist, it doesn't matter. Whether they're Muslim, it don't matter. They all believe that we are in the end times. It's this year. I guarantee it. Fucking people are going to feel this shit. But let me just make one thing perfectly clear. All life, all walks of life, human nor animal, should all be respected. If we walked around with a little more self-respect for ourselves and a little more self-esteem, and we walked around in life instead of looking down at our phones, grazing like animals in our phones, because that's what they want. They want your faces down like cows. They want you to look down like cows. This is why people are falling in sewers in New York City and getting hit by cars, because they're looking down when they're walking around, because they don't want you looking up, because God said, look to the heavens, look to the sky for the signs and the stars, the sun, and the moon. We fucking seen some signs. That's right, be humble. We seen some signs, ladies and gentlemen. This was the first dead giveaway, September 23rd, and there's the fucking Bible verse to back it up. Okay? How could we deny this? You know, when God said people would see, people would hear, but not listen. People would hear, but not listen. Because they're not meant to. So what God tells you immediately is, if that person looks at you like you're crazy, they're probably never going to believe a fucking word you say. And let me tell you something. This applies to the people who have changed their lives for the better from what they used to be. When it's like the little boy who cried wolf. They kept listening to him, and then eventually, the final time when it really was wolf, they didn't listen, and they all fucking died, and he survived. And then the moral of that story was he was alone. He was alone. 100%. You got it, Ashley. He was alone. The worst feeling in the world is being alone. Would you want to be walking around with no other human or anything around you? I don't think so. But people better be prepared for this disease X. Because as soon as it gets hot, it's going to mutate that fucking thing. And it's airborne. Believe it. It's in the waterways, it's airborne. We're going to have creatures coming out of the water like you've never seen before. With the radiation and the Fukushima leak and the fucking... I don't even want to get started. But my point is we see the signs. This is undeniable. So the people that you walk up to and you ask them about the chemtrails, as soon as they say, no, that's a contrail, unless they ask you more information about it, don't give them any information. Just tell them, look up what chemtrails mean. And don't argue with the people that come on to your videos. I haven't had a negative comment on my videos in hell, a long time. A long, long time, because God's keeping them people away. I haven't had to waste no energy arguing with the people. And you know what I do? I leave them right on there. I don't delete them. I leave them right on there. Unless they're disrespecting people and getting people to argue. Then it's my responsibility to remove them. Remove that problem from the equation. The situation can't occur like that. We can't allow that. We can't allow instability to come in between the greater focus of our lives. We're trying to change. Odie Odin, what's up, brother? So when, like I said, now when somebody's interested, they'll say to you, they'll ask you questions, they'll probe. This is how you'll know that they're interested. They'll say, where did you go to school for that? Have you ever been hit with that? And the reason why they ask you that is because they're sizing you up. You're pretty fucking smart, but where did you learn this? And they want to know, where did you learn this? Because it makes sense to them. It's only those people that you should focus on. Really. Show love to everybody. Good day, Odie. So now that we got that into focus, this Wikipedia thing that they're doing, Wikipedia can be changed. They're proving nothing when they say that they're going to put Wikipedia on conspiracy channels. First of all, they're labeling people. If they can't prove it's not true, and they can't prove it isn't true, and they can't prove it is true, there should be no label on it at all. It shouldn't be considered conspiracy or any of that. It should be considered possibilities. Possibilities, that's what it is. See, if there's a possibility, then that makes it truth. Oh, sorry about that thing when I do this. You know what it is? I'm watching too much of the fucking news, and I'm watching all these shows, and just to see everything that's going on. And they do that a lot. They're programming people for that shit. And I just want to say this. There are some YouTube channels that I've been following that I really, really liked. And I'm just in disbelief at what I'm seeing. Some of these YouTube channels are setting up the background before they go live or before they edit. And I want to say who it is. I just watched this video recently. It's That's Impossible channel from like 2 years ago, a year ago or something like that. He's in his bathroom, number one. I'd love to play that video for you, but I don't need a copyright strike on my shit. I've already got some videos that have been banned worldwide. Worldwide. Because I proved two things. And I've got Sony pictures backing me up on a few of my videos as well. That's Impossible channel kept repeating something. And as I'm looking at him, I thought I saw something in the background. See, that's where your peripheral plays in your subconscious. Your subconscious picks it up when you train yourself to do that. When you train your peripheral to see everything, focus on looking at everything out here instead of what's in front of you, even though you're looking straight. Focus on seeing everything around. When you focus on training your mind to automatically do this and see things and pick things up, regardless whether you're looking at them or not, then that means your brain training is working. But That's Impossible channel kept saying something about it can't be possible, blah, 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 blah. He kept repeating himself, and he kept looking one way. He kept looking one way. And I happened to notice in the window, there was what looked to be like blinking lights started to show up in the sky in his window. Okay? And then they started to slowly fade down. And he was setting up the stage for somebody to go, dude, you had a UFO in the background. He was already setting the stage for a new video. Shame on you, That's Impossible. Shame on you, James LaFleur. I was one of your fans for a while. And I listened to what the guy said yesterday about a lot of YouTube channels are going to give you 3/4 truth and 1/4 lie. They're going to throw a rabbit hole in there to get you wandering off from the topic at hand, the most important thing. The most important thing is that we're being deceived on everything. Everything. We're being programmed on everything. Well, when I say we, I'm not talking about me anymore. I've stepped out of that situation. And only until you step out of that situation and you look around and you start doing your own research. Until then, like Jesus said, you're not going to break free of the system. Don't get the chip. Don't scan your face. I don't give a fuck if you're on Social Security and these motherfuckers are telling you the only way that you're going to get a check is by getting that chip or your face scanned. No. They're going to use a natural disaster to get all these people into FEMA camps, and they're going to chip them, and then they're going to tell them, if you want to live, you have to get this chip. We're starting over. This is why they've been building all these cities in all these countries, and nobody's living in them. They're called ghost cities. People should investigate that. And then these huge-ass trains, these double-decker trains with long benches and shackles. Like they're going to move people on the tracks. They're going to move people underground. It's already been happening. Am I going to say this? I'm going to say this. I think our sun is burning so hot that they're blocking it out with their artificial light source. They're not covering up a black hole in the sun anymore or none of that. See, you got to understand, sun goes black. That means it's hot, really hot. It's kind of like a red flame to a blue flame to a white flame. It's the part you can't see that's the hottest. So what happens is God says the sun will die for 3 days. It'll go pitch black, right? Let me hear your opinion on the subject. I wish I could do a video sharing thing here. I don't know anything about this screen sharing when it comes to YouTube. I'm just a normal guy collecting a monthly check for a physical disability. I was stabbed 2 different times, but 7 times in total. 2 collapsed lungs, surgery on my abdominal wall. My intestine was coming out, my small intestines, everything. But look at me. I don't look bad. I don't look bad at all. You can't even tell I was stabbed. Yes, we can. We can talk private. I'd like to get some input from various people on various subjects, what you believe is going on. Now remember, what we think and what we believe should be 2 different things, because the power of belief can ultimately be projected on or in something. It's like when you're a child, they say that the child has more energy and can do more things than a full-grown adult, because it hasn't been put through the system yet. Its imagination is still there. You ever wonder why kids talk to imaginary friends? You ever wonder why that is? It's not because they're bored and they don't have anybody to talk to, but it's because that thing is really there. Whatever it is taking the image of something. It could be a good spirit. It could have a motive. I had a very bad dream years and years ago. It wasn't a dream that I could figure out until recently. This dream could not take place in the future because the land is not owned by any of my family anymore. But I used to live in a place called Mariahville in the country, up in the mountains. Have 3 ponds on the land, about 100 acres of land. Half of it clear fields, the other half woods. Had cows back in the day. I've done a lot of hay in my life. I'm a field guy. I've been out in the field doing hay. Even when I don't want to do it, it has to be done because it's survival. You have to do these things to survive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do understand that people are going to turn to the government in times of need for food, disaster relief, shelter, because they're not equipped to take care of themselves. They've been bred in to depend on the government, period. That's why there's going to be very few of us. The road is very narrow, but few will find it. Okay? We're on that road. But my dream, I was on the land. I'm in the house. There's a baby. my mother and some girl there that I never got to see. In the entire dream, I never got to see who she was. I hear what sounds to be like an airplane, rushing water. I go to the door in the dream and I'm looking out and I see what looks to be like, well, it looks to be like an F-18, but it's hovering in the air and you can hear it and you can see it just hovering, swaying from side to side. And I'm like, what the fuck is this thing doing? It's like hovering right over the field. Not too high up neither. All of a sudden, the clouds start coming in. Clouds start forming out of nowhere, and a face starts appearing in the cloud. And it wasn't a human face, but it was in the image of what we look like. This thing was kind of in between what they're saying these grays look like, but they're close to what they look like. I seen the image of this thing very clear, so I know what they look like. And it was very angry looking. It was huge, big in the sky. I mean, if anybody else saw it, the world saw it, period. That's how big it was. Its mouth was moving like it was if it was talking, and I couldn't hear a word it said. Nothing. As it was talking, you could see the hatch open up on the bottom of the fucking jet, and it started dropping missiles out of it, and they started taking off towards the clouds. And you could see them blowing up in the clouds, and you could see the cloud, the face of this being that was being projected through the clouds as the cloud. Every time it blew up and spit the clouds out, the clouds would come back and reform the face again. Like this thing was indestructible. So anyways, the jet takes off. It was shooting. And at this point in time, I'm outside. And I'm saying, yo, come here, look at this. I'm telling these people, my mother, to come outside, and whoever this girl is, I never got to see in my dream. And the shells start falling. Shells start falling all over the place. So we run back in the house. All of a sudden, after it left, after the jet left, I see the clouds start to do the swirl motion. And they start turning sideways and going around. Like as if that was south and this is north. It went exactly opposite. And I wanted to know where it was going, so I ran outside and I followed it. And as I'm watching it move around in the sky to the other side, it starts spinning. And flashes of lightning, red and blue, start flashing inside of it. Funny thing is, it started getting really, really hot. And then the wind started kicking up. And you could see the leaves were being sucked upward. And then when I seen the droplets of water coming up off the water, I said, what the fuck is going on? I'm in my dream. Literally got control of my dream and there's nothing I could do. I'm facing the most scariest event in my life in my dream. But I'm calm. Now, when I finally seen this thing and I realized what it was doing, that it was getting ready to suck up the buildings and the people off the earth in the water, I went to go run back in the house, but I stopped short because I seen along the side of the house where my cellar bay doors were at an angle, you know how you got the angled doors, there was a ring up against the house above the doors. There was a tall being, completely gray, the color of gray, only one color of gray, color of my shirt. It was tall, it had no face, had no ears. Completely smoothed off. It was wearing a red and black, shiny, futuristic looking one-piece suit. Skin tight. Didn't speak because it didn't have a mouth. Mental thought. Mental thought. It projected a mental thought. Made it like it was if it was in my own head. I couldn't tell the difference. Out of this dark hole that's inside of the ring slides out what looks to be like a board, but it's not. It's red and black stripes. And then all of a sudden it went from this to this, like stairs, like an escalator. And it started going in to the black void. As soon as a red step would meet the black void, you could see the red being swallowed by the black, like as if you couldn't see what it was going into, that black, or where it was going. This thing, this being that was standing on the side of it, clearly projected a thought to place the baby, and I don't know whose baby this was. I still didn't understand the meaning of it until recently. I understood the meaning. I remembered the passage in the Bible where the king was looking for somebody to interpret the dreams. And I remembered the dreams about the 7 healthy cows, 7 skinny cows, 7 healthy years and 7 bad years. Okay, so we don't need to get into that. I place the baby on the red thing. The baby gets engulfed. I step on the red step, not the black steps. I don't know where the black steps go, but I sure the fuck don't want to find out. So when I was on the red step going up in, it was lights out for me as soon as I hit the black, and it was like, you know how a movie cuts over to this scene now? Well, that's exactly what it did in my dream. It cut over to the scene, and I was aware of what happened. Now I'm inside of this vessel. It's completely a round corridor from what I could see, with doors all the way to fuck around this thing. They look like regular doors. They're all red. I'm walking on a metal grate. You know how when you're walking in New York City, you're walking on those grates that you can see down through? They got those little rectangle slots everywhere throughout them. I'm walking on one of those. Over here, along this thing, opposite of the doors, it's completely metal with like strips going down, connecting the metal sheets that go around the centerpiece. Underneath the grate, you can see lava, what looks to be like lava. You can feel the warmth, but it's not super hot. If you stepped off the grate, there was a big opening all the way around as well. About the same width of the grate that I was walking on. If you stepped over that, you were going in. Well, all I know is I came up to a window on this vessel, and I was looking at the earth. That's all I know. I was looking at the earth. And before I knew it, it was like clap on, clap off. Went to another scene. I was back on the earth, standing there by myself. There was no water in the pond. There was no house where there was a house. The trees were still green. The grass was still green. But there were no buildings. It looked like the earth had been remade. But in the process of all that, I understood what it meant now. I understand what it means. It means there will be war. They're fighting an unseen force. They've programmed you and everybody else in the world, in every movie about aliens, that when they come, they will come as hostiles. They've programmed people to violently attack these beings if they show. That is why these beings will not show up until it is necessary. And necessary is when everything pretty much is just about dead. They want to make sure that there's no weapons or nothing to be used against them. They've lost enough life. They're not impervious to weapons. They can still be killed. They don't want that happening. I'm going to tell you this. They've conditioned us, or the people that are still asleep, to attack these beings, to not go with them. I'm going to tell you this. Don't listen to Richie from Boston when he tells you it's a deception. It's Agenda 21. No, they put Agenda 21 out there for you to find it. You don't think that you find these things on accident or by luck. No. They've conditioned everybody to find these things. Only the smart find certain things. It's not the things that are easily obtained. It's the things that are hard to obtain. Sometimes it's the things that are right in front of your face. And I'll use this reference again. It's like that show from WTF, What the Fuck Files. There's a scene right in the beginning where they're bent over. They look like they're running. They're all mob members, looks like. And he goes, what the fuck does WTF mean? And he goes, WTF, the guy next to him. And then the guy in the bathroom stall knocks down the door and he goes, what the fuck? And he goes, oh yeah, that's right. It was right in front of his face. But because of all the mass hysteria, and because he just got done running from a problem and situation, he wasn't allowed at that very moment to see what was going on in front of his very own face. That could be a problem later on in the future for people if they're unprepared for something. So that's why I state it's better to be prepared. Safety first. Because when a situation does arise, you're capable of handling the situation calmly instead of running around screaming, going, what is going on? What is going on? You have to be brave. These next 6 months are probably going to be some of the most life-changing months in human history. We were told that if our governments didn't tell the world about the existence of these beings and that they've always been here, that they would start showing up. They would start showing up unlike anything they've ever seen before. And it would be undeniable. Well, guess what's happening? They're finally releasing this. You've got military members, colonels coming out and saying, if we're telling you that this is what we captured and you've got 4 of us that are credible, they're on the news. And he's literally telling you, if you've got these credible people showing you that this thing is defying gravity, moving in ways that they cannot explain, and then taking off at speeds like as if it wanted to be seen. It was making itself seen and then saying, you will never catch me. So don't even try. They're warning our system. They're warning the powers that be. I'm staying put. Do you know why? Because I finally understood what the passage of the Bible meant when it says, don't abandon your post until it's time. He will give the sign when it's time. And then when he says, when you do abandon your post, go straight to an open field. Do you know why he said that? Because when the wires in the houses around us and all these buildings go up in flames all at once, where are you going to run? Into the middle of the street and be cooked alive by the heat from both sides? No. And that's another reason why he said don't go into the woods neither. Because you got power lines that run through woods and shit like that too. But when he says don't go into the woods, it's because they'll be on fire as well, probably. It was safe to say. And then earthquakes. Earthquakes is another problem. But I'm going to take you to how this all started. There's nobody in the world that can tell you this better than I can. I believe, not think, I believe, which is not a thought. A belief is saying this is what I know to be true. I believe in this because I have no reason not to. It's the only thing that makes sense. When we have a solar system and we have other solar systems and then we have galaxies comprised of solar systems within. Now that's super large. But when we have galaxies upon galaxies, number one, you tell me how the fuck they could zoom out all that distance and see all these galaxies. It's impossible unless they put a camera that far out. Impossible unless they're being shown these images from somewhere else. Now, it is possible what they're doing with D-Wave, on the other hand. They're destroying other worlds like ours to save our own. What they're doing is they're trying to move the Earth. There's a bigger picture here. They're trying to take the Earth and make it disappear with the electromagnetic frequencies that are going to be emitted or already being emitted. Full armor of God is right. You know what he meant by the full armor of God? He meant that shit that protects you from being electrocuted and all these pulses, electromagnetic shit. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about get some armor. Armor protect yourself from what the fuck they're going to do and what's going to happen with the sun. Now, for every action's a reaction, there are consequences for what our actions are doing with these chemtrails. All right. Now, when they spray chemtrails in the sky, they're not only doing that for one reason, or two reasons, or three reasons, but they use it for more than 5 reasons. These chemtrails are serving more than 5 different purposes. You ever hear that saying, kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Or how about what they did back in the days when they stood them up for the firing squad? 1 bullet, 5 guys. Stand in a line. Boom! Drop all 5. Why waste the ammunition, right? All right. So I'm going to tell you what these chemtrails are meant for. Number 1, they're loaded with barium, strontium, aluminum, copper, and more. These are all electrical components. They're all hazardous to our health to ingest, unless ingested the right way. We know that they're on the table of contents for as being part of our diet, let's say, and our like proteins and shit like that. We need certain things, and they come in sources of food, plants, and everything else. God said, let the green be the meat of the earth. He said, let the green plants be the meat of the earth. He didn't say anything else but that. You know what the meat of the earth is? He said, let the green plants be for the meat of the earth. Well, the meat of the earth would be our cows, people. It's meat. Meat. He clearly means meat, the beast of the field. The humans are also referred to as the beast in the Bible, just like the first beast to create a second beast in its image. Well, I'm going to tell you the secret behind the chemtrails, where we got the information for this. We're being told, yes, we're being told the chemtrails are reflecting sunlight back out into space and reflecting the radiation and cooling the atmosphere, cooling the earth. They just told on themselves. That's why it's getting severely cold. And they're trying to say it's going to be hot. But now the news is coming out and they're saying something different now. They're saying that climatologists were wrong. It's going to be an ice age. They fucking told you it was going to be an ice age when they said they were cooling the earth, when they said that chemtrails were real, when Harvard and all these places and NOAA came out and said, and NASA came out and said, they're doing it to cool the earth, to reflect global warming. And now it's having an adverse reaction. It's reverse reaction. It's bullshit. No. They are cooling the earth. They're doing it on purpose, though. They're doing it. They're controlling the weather. They're using it for war. They're using it to hide us. See, now, this doesn't work unless every country pulls together. But if they can get the electromagnetic current strong enough, it's like these time travelers are saying. You know how they're saying that they've been transported through time from the future to the past? Do you know how they're saying that they did this? Do you know how they say they go into a state of being there, seeing everybody, hearing everybody, but they can't see them? They can't see that person that can hear and see them. It's because there's an electromagnetic field around them. It's bending the light around them, making them invisible. So if you look at the Earth from Google Earth and you see, if you get close enough, but not too far away and not too close, you're going to see what looks to be like a circuit board pattern. Like Mother Earth is being turned, the lay of the land is being turned into a giant grid, a motherboard. She's like, yeah, tell me about it, it's going to boom. But, so imagine the Earth being the motherboard. They're drilling underground with these boring tunnels, and they're creating underground cities. Now, there's layers to this. It's like building a car. You got to have the frame. You got to have the engine. There's certain things you got to build before you can just put the body on. You can't put doors together and not have a thing for the window to go up and down. Yes, I just watched a thing about the elderly being held captive it was a doctor. She posted a video. She was live this morning. and they're up to no good with our elderly. You know, that's for another time. That's for another topic. They don't want us to get answers from the elderly. That's why they're classifying them as me too, and they're trying to say that they're lacking memory. But oh boy, I lost my thought. All right, the computer. So we're gonna lay the lines for what they're doing here. This is their ultimate goal. They think that they're using the technology for their own self. But what they don't realize is that the artificial intelligence that's here now was unlocked from the abyss. They let it out. That's what CERN did. CERN let it out. Before D-Wave was ever created, CERN powered up that machine and let something out. That something was captured. They are harnessing this thing inside of a chamber of some sorts at this facility because they know that the beings that they're pulling out of there are very destructive, but they're very powerful. And, well, curiosity kills the cat every time, but the stupid people still run into the woods or the house when they hear a scream. It's their first reaction. I mean, it's the truth. So, and things that we don't understand, we have to reverse engineer. That's the point of reverse engineering. We reverse it until we can understand it, and then we go forward. So they would not need to label something as reverse engineered unless it was advanced technology that didn't belong to us. That's number one. But let's go back onto the CERN thing. This is very important. CERN let this thing out. This thing is like a Ouija board and a scrying mirror and a crystal ball all in one. Except for this created the necessary beings of creating D-Wave, which communicates with the other side like a wireless cell phone. Okay? Like a wireless cell phone. But they needed energy first. And the way that they got that energy was through the cell phones that were handed out to us. The more time that we spent on these cell phones getting aggravated, frustrated throughout the day, regardless whether we have that cell phone in our hands or not, it could be in our pockets. These are energy collectors. If they can make a black mirror, a solar panel to collect energy, they could do the same fucking thing with our cell phones. Okay? They could draw our energy. We have energy in our bodies. They could draw it out. These beings need this on the other side to power themselves. Now, TV shows like Dragon Ball Z, people think that's a fairy tale, but you ever wonder why the Chinese are so good at what they do with healing people? You ever see all the most amazing stories come out of China about levitation and everything else? Because they're not stupid. And the reason why they put it in a cartoon form and they allow the kids to see the little glowing ball from the hands of these things and the glowing feature is because that's their aura. And they're trying to teach these kids that their chi, their power is within. And they can use these things. The powers that be don't want nobody knowing that. And that's where they've got people locked up in the system. And Jesus was trying to tell us this when he was healing people and walking on water. And he clearly stated with his mouth, the faith of a mustard seed. If you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can command that mountain to get up out of its resting place and jump into the water. When God says that he spoke existence into life, it's a frequency. Do we understand? He spoke things into existence. He didn't touch things. He spoke it. So now we know how the Egyptian pyramids were made when they come out with, oh, well, we can levitate this by using sound. Who's with me so far? Using sound to move an object. What if in the Egyptian days they didn't use sound, but they used their mind? Their mind was the mental thing that levitated blocks. And when they spoke, they only spoke when needed because their voices were so destructive. Just like that show in Humans, when the guy can't talk, if he does, he'll annihilate the planet or whatever. It's kind of like that. Now, these angels in the Bible, don't get it twisted. The first angel sounded its trumpet, and out of the heavens came barreling down like a great mountain burning of fire, like glowing metal. It's talking about the UFOs, that red dragon and the UFOs. It's talking about as above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. It makes plenty of sense that if something happens with our sun, it happens with our earth. If there's a battle in the heavens, and the Bible says they were cast down to the earth, and there's videos now surfacing of Elon's car out in space, seeing this shit in the background, and then all of a sudden we're getting a video of lights being shot back and forth at each other in the sky during broad daylight. It's safe to say that they're almost about to be cast down. Now, Stephen Hawking said something about that long cigar-shaped supposed meteor that was flying through our atmosphere or through our solar system and whipped around the sun and went out. It didn't whip around our sun and go out. It didn't leave at all. It crashed here on the earth. Go to Google Earth or go to Secure Team and look up that video again where they're saying it's a chunk of ice that came sliding down, broke off the mountaintop. That's bullshit, because everybody knows that in movies, when something plows down through the tip of a mountain, it busts that tip off and creates a half crater. And if the object is moving faster than the shit behind it falling, what's going to happen is it's going to come and slide all the way forward until it comes to a stop. And as it's sliding, snow is going to come up and cover it up, of course. And whatever's behind it, that mountain that it hit, it's all going to fall down and cover the first part where it slid down. And all you're going to see is a line, because you can tell that the line is buried by the shit that fell behind it. So if it fell first, it would be safe to say, why didn't anything else go that far forward? It's because that cylinder-shaped object that was captured on Google Earth is that object that was traveling through space. And it was cast down to the earth. Let's not get it twisted. Now, there's a difference. Circular ones are safe. Cigar ones are bad. Pyramid ones, bad. Absolutely. Bad. Okay? The tips of those pyramids, they were ships. They were pyramid-sized ships that and they still reside up in the sky. They never left. They never, ever left. Now, maybe hard for a lot of you to understand this, but to the people that are awake, you should catch on and you should say, yes, that absolutely makes sense. So, I explained to you on earth as it is in heaven. So now I'm going to explain to you about that red dragon being Planet X. We're already seeing meteors streaking through the sky, right? And we're out of that season. We're not supposed to be having them. But there's a little story that says, upon the birthing of the September 23rd thing, 2017, which has the Bible verse. Once again, I'll just show you in case you guys want to pause that and see it. I've done some research on this, and I figured out what comes first before that red dragon is cast down to the earth. Number one, it speaks of it's traveling through the heavens on its way to the Virgin to wait for Emmanuel, which is Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus Christ, God of the sky, God of gods. Okay? You understand? It's said that on the solar charts is that this planet, Jupiter, protects us. You ever wonder why the moon and Mars look all beat up on one side and smooth pretty much on the other with very little beat up marks? It's because whatever travels through the solar system travels the same way every time. And it's quite obvious that every time it comes through, it bombards Mars and the moon with meteors and asteroids. So it's safe to say that whatever's coming through is hitting the moon and the Mars. It's bombarding them with meteors and asteroids. That's why all those little pock marks are there. All those blast marks, okay? So it's said that the red dragon that's traveling through the heavens on its way to Virgo, the woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, with 12 stars above her head. That tells us the red dragon swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. It said with its tail, though, with its tail. So it's safe to say that it came through our asteroid belt already. It's safe to say that it already flung those things towards the earth. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. And it's safe to say that as the earth rotates around the earth, it's going around in the circle pattern, but we have an oblong pattern for this planet X. Now, as we go around, when this thing is traveling, at certain times of the year, we're going to be close to it and far away from it, close to it and far away from it, each time we go around the sun, one whole time. But the earth turns at the same time, too, so everybody sees us at a different angle. They see it at a different part of the world because it's not an accurate sighting. It was just described on the Egyptians' pyramids and the walls. It was described what these things would look like. We're seeing it, man. When MRBB, whatever, what 3333, he put the sunrise, the wings that were there. I said, the first thing I said was, as soon as I seen the cover photo on his thing, I says, thank you, God. Yes. This was like, it reminded me of when God said, be a child again. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into this because CERN and D-Wave comes in to all this mix. Because the artificial intelligence is trying to get here, but they need us to build them a body first, and they need us to bring them into our world. And then when we've done so, when they've learned everything they can, they want inside of the human body. They want this, the brain, because the brain is still misunderstood, even though we know a lot about it. It's more powerful than anything in the universe. God said we're all gods, but we'll die like mere mortals. We'll die like mere mortals because they bred the God out of us. They bred the God right out of us. You ever wonder why wizardry is a myth? Witchcraft supposedly is a myth. White magic and black magic supposedly is a myth, but you can find all evidence that it's real. People don't keep that shit in history for too long. It fades away. A fashion fades away. A new trend emerges. This trend and fashion has never faded. The story of the dragons. So there's a lot more going on. But I'm going to focus on our solar system. So we're seeing these meteors coming around and being flung to the earth. Nowhere's in there did it say that they would hit the earth. So when Paul Bagley is running around talking about them hitting the earth, it doesn't say that. Okay? It doesn't say that at all. It says it after the dragon was waiting to devour the child. Now, Jupiter is our protection. It keeps a balance. It keeps a pull. But because that red dragon's pull is so great, it's pulling Jupiter. And it's going to crash. They're going to collide. And we're going to see a big boom in the heavens. And that's another thing that they're trying to cover up. They're trying to cover up that big blow up that everybody will see. They're trying to cover up that planet that we're seeing that they can't really stop us from seeing. So now as this planet is getting closer to our sun, and you have this thing whipping around that planet, which is one of its moons. But see, it's a sun. It's a dwarf sun that wraps around this large body. What ends up happening is the closer it gets to our sun, it pulls the magnetosphere of the sun back, exposing a black coronal hole because it's taking the energy. So as the sun is turning, as we're going around the sun, we're seeing the black coronal hole Earth facing. So wherever that black coronal hole is, it's safe to say that that's the side that Planet X is on. Yeah, Paul Bagley is not genuine. I'm just going to say that. He's more of a salesman now. He's more of an adrenaline junkie when it comes to the dopamine hits, when it comes to the getting people all riled up. And he makes every little event out to be like the biggest scale thing there is in the world. When these things are going to happen slowly, but become more progressively togetherness, which means instead of it being once a day, it's going to be twice a day. And then the further on we go into forwardness, into the future, it's going to be 3-4 times in one shot of this day and 3-4 times in this day. And then it'll be a clusters. But the earth is being transformed. They're trying to, because the time travelers are talking about how there's an electrical current above them and below them, and that it transports them. So they're really trying to move the earth in some sort of way, but they can't. They can't change anything outside of the firmament. They can only change what's inside. Yes, they can go back in time. They can change history. We can have the Mandela effect. But God says we cannot stop what's coming, because what's on the outside cannot be stopped. It's on earth as it is in heaven. So it happens in heaven first. So now that we know when we're coming around the sun and we see the corona hole, it's safe to say that whatever is causing those corona holes is Planet X. I'm just going to say that. Every time that thing goes around the other planet, that red dwarf, it's swiping the plasma off the sun. That's why it's getting its red look. When I did that other video showing you the difference, the plasma look that it had to it. When it gets close and it's pulling the magnetosphere back, it exposes a corona hole, a black spot to the Earth. Radiation comes out of that, and it hits the Earth, and it bombards the Earth in waves, and it pushes our magnetosphere back, exposing this area of the Earth. And it comes in like sunlight rays. It doesn't hit the whole area. It affects certain parts. But it's doing exactly to the Earth like a microwave does its food. How does a microwave cook its fucking food? From the inside out. So I'm saying it's safe to say that the closer it becomes to the sun, and the sun's being affected, the sun's affects the Earth, and the Earth affects the population on the Earth. It affects the surface. Because now that we know it's being heated from the inside out, gases are being compressed, and there's no way for them to escape. So they're compressing and building up, and then you have these giant earthquakes, or you have these large-ass amounts of lava being pushed up to the surface of the volcano, and then it blows because it can no longer hold. The pressure's too great. That is why earthquakes or volcanoes explode, because of the pressure. Well, when we know that the lava is coming to the surface, it's because the Earth is being cooked. And they're trying to stop that, but the problem is they can't stop the radiation. They can stop the sun's heat from hitting your skin. They can cool it down on the surface, but they can never stop the core from heating up, because that's what radiation does. There's no way to combat that. See? And I'm just going to say this. Water falls, heat rises. Noah built, water falls, heat rises. God said he would dump the water, the rain, out in buckets on the land. Years worth of rain within days. He clearly tells you that. And he tells you where. But it's all in different spots of the Bible. Where? What's being dumped in where is in another spot. And it's on you to hunt it down. So now that we know that water falls and heat rises, what did Noah do? He built a boat to float, right? Water falls, he built the boat to float atop of it. Because we know that water goes in the ground. It'll drown everything down there. So you're shit out of luck going underneath, unless you're in some sort of capsule, and you can wait that long. So when the ark crashed on that mountain, they receded with the water, because I know I don't want to wait for the water to all the way recede, and then I start climbing down the mountain and I fall all that way and die. No, if I recede with the water, it's better, because if I slip, I just fall in the water and nothing really happens. You see? So Well, that's just the thing. The elites already have the right idea, but they're in the wrong spots. Because God said that they would be in the mountains, they would go in the mountains and they would scream and cry for the rocks to come down on them and to save them or to kill them, but they would not find death. They would not be able to find death in those days. With the scorpion stings and everything else. I'm going to tell you about them scorpions too. Oh, they're here, and I know what they look like. I know exactly what they look like. I've seen one, and everybody has seen one, and don't even know you have. People have it on camera flying around, and it is in the shape of a human, with wings like a dragonfly, a tail and a stinger like a scorpion, a face like a human, with razor sharp ass teeth like a lion. It's exactly what the Bible describes. That's for a whole nother story. I already told everybody, if you want to stop revelations from happening and you want to stop the end of the world, there's only one thing you need to do. Stop Damascus from being destroyed. It clearly tells you in there, when Damascus is completely destroyed, this will happen next. When the Dead Sea is completely dry, this will happen next. Well, if you stop this, then this can't happen. So, ever since I made that fucking video, now they're over there bombing what's left of Damascus, the capital. They're bombing it. There's only 30% of Damascus left, and that's the capital. And it's almost completely gone. And ever since I made that fucking video, it's almost like they're rubbing it in my face. They went over there. Russia went over there and started bombing the fuck out of them. Destroying more of it. It's like a slap in the face. Indirectly. You see what I'm saying? So don't think for one moment, that these late night shows, the news, the government, don't think that they don't watch people's channels. Because when you got people like Jimmy Kimmel coming on and talking about the scumbags, that they're calling scumbags, that are proving that certain disasters, like certain shootings, school shootings, were staged to get these kids to do this. Because they had to stage these things until the kids stood up and feel like that they're doing it on their own. But really the kids are being driven to do this through these actions that they created. Okay? So, I don't even want to get on it no more. It's a lot of information. Let's go back to the earth. Noah built the boat to float. I know I take people off topic a lot. Heat rises, water falls. So now that we know that the water falls and you got to build a boat to float, when heat rises, what do? Can anybody give me a correct answer of what you do to escape that? I'll wait. I'll be proud to wait for an answer to come up. I just gave you the answer all in itself when I said Noah built the boat to float. No, you don't lay on the floor. Anybody else? I give you another shot. You go under. You go under. We already have a mapped system out of where the lava is, where the calderas and cauldrons are. We know the routes that the lava is going. We go where the lava isn't going. And we make sure that it's an area that's safe. It's got to be solid rock. You think the caves were made in the Adirondacks for no reason? And when God said, go to the mountains, to the top, he wasn't saying go in the mountains. When he said go in the mountains, he didn't actually literally mean go inside of the mountain. He meant go in the mountains and go to the top. And when you do, when you see all these signs happening and you finally do what he says, make sure you have an oil lamp because they burn for a very long time. And make sure you bring enough oil for whatever them things are that are going to come are going to take you. And they got to be able to see you. Remember, there's a house in heaven not made by human hands. What's that tell you? And it will come down to the earth and become one. And it will have 12 gates. And they will be guarded. Which means this thing is indestructible. And whatever these beings are going to take people off this planet. Now, I believe that everything has already been sealed ahead of time, just waiting to be actually physically done now. We're almost there. Not much longer. This summer, you can guarantee you it's all going to be in effect. But see, God said he would cut all this shit short. It would fool even the elect. But God said it would be cut short. Well, guys, that last thing you just heard me say is what triggered my reconnection problem. This thing is triggered by words. So I won't say that again. Just know this. Elon Musk is fear. That's why God said don't allow fear into your heart, because they're using fear-based ads and fear-based things to get you to take these, to get you to go this route or that route. When they see that there are people that are unwilling to take it, the chip they want you to get in the back of your skull, on your brain, they say it'll allow you to control the artificial intelligence, because people are afraid, well, what do I do if it goes crazy? I can't go near it to shut it down. No, they want to come in to the body. And you can't put the wine in the wineskins. You know that little story. But anyways, the earth is heating up. The earthquakes are just going to get worse this summer. But there's a lot of things I could talk about. I got to actually pick one topic, ladies and gentlemen, and stay with it. That's what I got to do. But the earth is being turned into one giant computer component that's used for endless amount of things. But with that being said, guys, my eyes are tired. I'm going to end this video now. Shoot me an email. Go over to Facebook, like, share. Good. Yes, make a video and upload it to YouTube, or send it to my my email, and I'll check it out. I'd like people to send me some information if they find anything that they find appealing. I ask that people don't send me old things that pretty much are covered. No, I only go on Facebook to find out if I've got any notifications from my other Facebook channels. You have to keep up with them. You have to speak to people. So, no, I'm not online a lot. I'm on YouTube all day, every day, because I'm trying to get the most information I can now and put things together in full perspective. I've already figured out everything that's going to happen next. Just can't put dates on them, guys. I'm just going to tell you. Which Facebook group is it you don't like? I got Truthers United. I've got the Open Eye System. I've got Creator. I've got Truth Be Told, but I don't go on that YouTube channel. There's nobody subscribed. Truth Be Told has got some stuff. Nothing happened. Okay. Manifestation 88. He had. I want to say this the right way. He had priorities he had to take care of that were more important than YouTube. His family, we ultimately know that family comes first. God first, but family first in this aspect of what I'm talking about. He's doing good. He's doing really good. He was never doing bad to begin with. It's just, I have this thing that wherever I go, I attract spirits, or whatever's in that land, whatever's in that area of the land, I expose it, and it doesn't like me for it. So I exposed it. he knew it was there. He just never had interactions with it until I came along. And he started being physically attacked, mentally attacked, his family. So he had to, we had a discussion and we came to the conclusion that you have to focus on your family and stay away from all this. Don't look for it, because God says looking for these things is bad news. You look for a spirit, it's just going to get closer to you until you can't get it away from you. But no, he's doing great. I was actually thinking about calling him, seeing how he's doing. But yeah, guys, we'll make more videos eventually here. I hate making these super long videos because then nobody likes to watch them all the way through. But I do like to cover a lot of bases. But it'd be nice if we could start writing through the mail from now on about certain things. Because the phones, the TVs, and anything with a speaker in it cannot be trusted this day and age. Everything listens. That is why when you're in your house and you're talking about diapers or cleaning supplies, all of a sudden your Facebook starts throwing you ads, or YouTube starts throwing you ads based off of that shit. Yeah. So now that you know that that's going on, it's a fact that the phones and everything listens. But some people will say, oh, they don't listen to what you're saying. You're making that up. Listen, they're listening in all aspects because they said they were. They told you that they were listening in on phone conversations. They were caught doing it. And then they said that they weren't doing it anymore. So when people are defending them, stop talking to people. Because they're only going to either, A, to prove themselves right and you wrong, or to keep you from proving them wrong, because they can't be proven wrong. If they are, then you can prove them wrong again, and then they feel that whatever they say will never be looked at the same way again, and they can't afford that to happen. So you'll either end up dead, jail, or not found. You'll be amongst the missing. Don't allow anybody to persuade your thinking. When you say something or you know what you've done and somebody tries to tell you something else and they weren't there, or they weren't hearing you, or they didn't have that problem, you did, and you know what took place, but they're trying to tell you what you've done, then that person's trying to brainwash you. Straight up and down. But also, it's not just the other person. The other person plays off of you because of what you've done in your past. So they use that. It's like a little boy who cried wolf. If he's a liar, he's a liar. People believe him just so much, and then they stop believing him, and then they die. Well, that's the plus about this whole situation. I'm going to come out on top. Those of you who do not allow yourself to fall for the bullshit and let people program you to thinking something else, because I've seen it all the time. People go, wow, you know what? You could be right. Now they're allowing their thought to be altered by somebody else. Who runs your brain? You do. So why are you letting somebody else persuade your thought? Unless it's a fact and you know differently, don't allow them to persuade your thought. Stay fucking away from them as much as you can. And you do the opposite. Do the opposite of what your intentions are. Don't tell a person this is what I'm afraid of. Tell them this is what I'm not afraid of. Because if you tell a person what you're afraid of, the things you like and don't like, they use it against you. It's just like God said, go in your room, close your door, lock it, and pray in secret. Because can't nobody fuck you over if they don't know what you're praying about, what you want, what your goals are. They can only stop it. And a person's negative energy will have so much effect on you in your life. It will make you feel emotionally, physically drained at all times, no matter how much energy you got. because you can feel the negative energy. When you're around positive people, you feel it. Believe you me, you fucking feel it. But I'm still working on trying to get my aura to block out any negative. And if there is negative, I'm trying to focus my mind on taking that negative and turning it into a positive. Okay? I'm trying to feed it back into myself, but as a positive, kind of like electric grid does. You know, people they create power with their solar panels, and the power companies are paying them for the power that they've made. So that's the catch. Create power and they will pay you for it if you can create enough of it. See? So, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to end this video now. God bless you all in Jesus Christ's name. I wish the best for everybody. Much love for everybody. And I hope you all wake up and see in your own way. I didn't see any comment from Odie. I think I'm getting old comments. But anyways, guys, if there's anything you want to say, just go in and leave a comment in under this video or any other video. All right, guys, I got to end the video because I'm so tired right now. All right, love you guys. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Bless you all.